So, 6 years ago, I was kicked out of a club that I had worked my whole life to join. And it wasn't because of something I did wrong, it was because my body and my brain had failed. I was supposed to be a healer, not one of the masses waiting to be healed. But as my dean told me, chronic illness is not compatible with a career in medicine. It didn't go very well, medical school. I came in thinking that I was going to have, thinking and learning, but instead all I had was acquisition and recall. I don't know if it was merely the disillusionment or a biological coincidence, but I fell into a deep and unremitting depression, and I fell behind and further behind. And I was 2 years behind. I sat and I watched friends move on, and I lied, and I made myself very, very small when I ran into people I knew on the street. It wasn't new to me, depression, but I thought this time, with a diagnosis and medication, I would be able to keep the bottom from falling out just when I had gotten into that club that I worked so hard to be in. But it didn't. It couldn't. I'd failed. So, I was teetering on the edge, and then lupus pushed me over. I was branded twice now as a failure, as broken goods, worthless and of no use. At this point now, I had completely passed through the looking glass, from future doctor to current patient. Graduate school was plan B, the same place, a new plan, but new disillusionment. I didn't have the stamina to do the work that I wanted to do. I resented the tyranny that my body and my brain had over my life and my career. I was angry. I was despondent. I dragged myself out of bed every morning, thinking again, here I am. I'm failing again. I can't even keep my grip on this consolation prize. Then, last year I had a spinal stroke. A brief moment of oxygen deprivation led to a 3-week hospital stay. But this time, as there was a flurry of worry just swirling around me, I was calm. The icy grasp of failure just melted. For the first time, it was just something physical. I could do this. I couldn't move my left side, but I could think, and I could feel my mind in there. It was a Class A medical failure. The whole medical team came running to see it. Medical students were here. Oh my God, we'll never see this again. But to me, it didn't seem like anything major. All I had to do was learn to walk again. And so now I stand here on the precipice of real life. I'll be graduating in a few months. But that feeling of failure has not abated. I still have a body and a brain that don't always do what I want. I still have that voice in my head that tells me that I'm broken, that I'm worthless, that I have no purpose. But I've started to realize that there's a nascent strength that's sprouting from these twisted roots of failure. And I remember that the things that have happened to me, these failures, were caused by events that were outside of my control. And that hiding, lurking in the shadows of shame and stigma, will only serve to reinforce the cycles of negative thinking. So I've made a conscious decision to step outside my reticent self, to tell my story to others and show them that illness and failure aren't dead weights pinning me to the ground, but rather just things that I carry around in my backpack and take with me. I want to show other people who are going through similar things that, they're going to want to cry, they're going to want to sit down, they're going to want to give up, they're going to want to, keel over, they're going to want to shake their fists at the sky and curse the fates. But that's the easy part. What's difficult is getting back up, putting that backpack on, moving forward, to take that sense of failure and get strength from it, to use that to forge a new path through this unknown wilderness. It's easy to think that illness and failure is where life ends, but that's not true. Failure is where your new life begins. Thank you.